Good afternoon, я вас вітаю, shalom and welcome. Welcome to today's live stream. My name is Alina, and this is my channel about personal growth, practical psychology, spiritual practices. And I'm very glad that you joined this live stream, even if it's already in recording. So today I want to answer a very popular question I'm getting for many, many years in different forms and variations. But the core of this question is, why do we need to analyze things, to work with decision making coaches, mentors? Uh, if we have tarot, if we have meditations, if we have I don't know, information that we can get from our dreams or from channeling. So why do we need all this stuff of spending a lot of time, energy, and money when we can just have a one session of channeling or tarot reading or runes readings and get the answers? So this is a very common question, and it's good that you have it. It means that you have spiritual thoughts. That is great. Spiritual thoughts are great, and those spiritual thoughts are in a very right direction. We want to understand uh, the structure of this world and how does spiritual component fits to this physical reality. It's a very good question. But from another hand, this question comes from some misunderstanding. Same or similar to misunderstanding when people are asking about, um, why do I need to work hard if I can read the affirmations? So affirmations are very important, and I will make a separate video. I have some videos about affirmations already, but I will make a separate one where I explain what is the importance of affirmations and what they're not substitute for. So today we are talking about decision making processes and communication with spiritual world and how they like work together, but they're not substitutes one for another. Okay, so let's start from a concept that we are spiritual beings and we are here to live and experience this life without, when we are starting at least, without um, higher consciousness, when we are like God's awareness, when the time is not linear, when we can understand all connections of all people and events, and how everything is connected and how everything is perfect, and what is a perfect spiritual path for us and a path in life. And we are learning and we are growing spiritually, and more things are opening to us, and we're kind of returning. We're trying not to learn but to remember what we once knew. And this is a very unique spiritual journey that souls that decided to incarnate on planet Earth have. Okay, let's agree on it. If we don't agree on it, maybe tarot readings, channeling, runes are not a good source of information for you in this case, because probably it's not your piece of cake. Let's say it's not your beliefs. And I'm really asking people that are not going to follow the guidance they're receiving from their spiritual guides, or tarot reading that they're doing for themselves, or tarot readers doing for them. If you will not use this guidance, don't ask for this guidance. Use something else, do something else. Don't ask advice from those higher energies and from spiritual world and from your higher self if you're not going to follow this example. Makes no sense. So let's agree at this point that we do agree that we are spiritual beings and that we are not in our spiritual maximum awareness, like angelic awareness of like the universe, that we see things not from human perspective but from God's perspective. We don't. We do not. When enlightenment comes, we will. When we will get to this level of awareness, but before enlightenment, we don't. Okay. So here comes an idea that I can do everything with meditations, with tarot readings, with channeling, and get answers and get guidance, exact directions, what to do and where to go. And this is not your actually, you think that it's a very spiritual idea and very spiritual thought. But to be honest, it's the opposite. It's not a spiritual idea, it's not a spiritual thought, because our spiritual thought um, will not tell us that I don't need the free will. I came here to experience and I want to be said exactly what to do. Actually, it's a human part of our nature, our ego, our fears, and our love to indecision. Subconsciously, most of us like indecision. We like this idea of you don't need to decide. You can be in between. You can have both options. You don't need to decide. You don't need to stress. You don't need to figure things out, because figuring things out, let's be honest, takes a lot of energy, effort. We need to learn things about ourselves. We need to try things, and some of things when we are going to the unknown will be painful, and this is a part of our incarnation and our life path. And also, our ego is very, very much afraid of mistakes. I will do something wrong. I will fail something. This is horrible. Like, people will not approve of me. My family will not approve of me. I will not approve of myself. I will be embarrassed of myself. I will be an embarrassment. And all those thoughts are preventing us from specific decisions, specific actions, and especially actions that will be in a public eye, that people will know that I tried it and I failed. And when a tarot reader or a spiritual guide comes on the picture and decides instead of us, it makes us feel that it's not my fault. If something goes wrong, it's the cards or the the reader. The reader interprets the cards incorrectly, and that's why things went bad. But it kind of takes us out of picture, and it's a comforting feeling. So there is a big psychological aspect to this desire to escape decision making process and to make someone to tell us exactly what to do. I myself am practicing tarot, I think, more than 15 years now, and I have a course that I don't know, started this course probably, yeah, something about 14 years ago. So I have a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge about tarot. Tarot are not giving you information, they're an instrument that we use to get information from higher spheres, from Akashic Chronics, from your spiritual guides, from informative fields. Similar, like we use our phones to communicate with other people, but we understand that not the phone is telling us things, but the person we called and the communication we have with the person. The same with tarot. But at the same time, we need to understand the nature of tarot reading and the nature of communication with spiritual world, that our spiritual guides, unless it's very, very rare event, maybe once or twice in a lifetime, when it's a question of life or death, it's very, very critical something, our spiritual guides will not tell us exactly what to do and exactly where to go. They will not dictate us anything. They're not taking our free will. It's also one of the things we can check, that sometimes people are, I don't want to scare here anyone, but sometimes people are getting connected not to their spiritual guides, but to some other um, let's say, I don't know how to call it in a polite way, low frequency entities, low frequency someone or something. And there are two indicators when we are having communication not with our spiritual guides and not with high frequency energies. It's when they are scaring us and we are scared and we are asking to stop, or we are really terrified, and still we see pictures, we hear the voice. This is not communication with your spiritual guides, it's something else. And another thing, when we are dictated to do things, very, very specific things. It's always something is fishy here. It's not communication with higher frequency entities and spiritual beings and our spiritual guides or higher self. So this is one big aspect. There are a lot of big aspects. I will try to cover most of them, but of course it can be a series of lectures, because to understand it fully, we need to understand the spiritual world and the physical world and all the nuances between them. But we will try to talk about like the bigger pieces today. So this is the first thing, that no one is taking our free will and no one is telling us exactly what to do. Because if we know exactly what to do and all consequences, and one, all the past is written to us, and we are just doing A, B, C, D, going by the list. So what is the idea of incarnating and having this experience? Because we're not decided, when we are not evolving, we are not thinking, uh, we're just doing things automatically. It makes no sense for the soul to come to this physical world just to follow ABC instruction, instructions. So this is a very important thing to remember. Another thing, I think it comes from misunderstanding of how tarot uh, reading works. In an ideal scenario, and it's how should be in tarot readings, that we are getting information. If our question is specific, information we are getting will be more specific. If our question is very wide and very like general, the information we will get will be also very, very general, very, very like, talking in general, no specifics, not very useful actually. Let's be honest and say it will be not very useful. It will be very, very broad answer that doesn't get us any clarity and doesn't get us anywhere. So to get to this very specific smart question, we already need to analyze a lot of things. We already need to remove a lot of options. We need already to focus on specific options. For this, we need to check a lot of things and we need to be very specific. I can give you a question, an example. For example, I had a client many, many years ago that came to me with a question: should I buy this apartment or this apartment? And he had specific addresses of apartments in a specific city, in a specific country. So when we checked the reading, there was also, even then, he didn't get an answer: buy this, don't buy this. We got an information that shows us like two paths, two options, and the development. Like if you buy this apartment, this and this feelings come in, those problems come in, you will feel like this, it will be like that. If you buy apartment, let's say B, the first will be apartment A. So the second one is apartment B. So if you buy apartment B, you will experience this and this and face those difficulties, and the situation will be more or less like that. And the client's obligation here was to compare between option A and option B and to see what works best for him. Like, what is more, uh, what is a better option for his preferences and for since he's ready or not ready to deal with. Um, so this is what he got when he had specific addresses. So he already checked. He knew that he wants to live in that country where he currently lives. He checked about the cities. He focused on a specific city. He was checking about the market. He found apartments, and then he found that from all available apartments, he likes two. And then he wanted to get more information about those apartments, about maybe the energy, about he will experience, how the life will be in this or that apartment, and then understanding what works best for him. Okay, uh, so even there, he didn't got like um, orders what to do and what not to do. Okay, he always had options, and he always was in power, and he was in a decision position. So imagine now someone comes to a tarot reader and says, hey, where should I live? In what country should I live? Where on this planet do I belong? Of course, there will be no effective answer for tarot reader or channeler or runes reader, wherever. There will be no specific answer. No one will tell you the country, the city, and the street where you belong. And this is when we need decision making coaching, when we need analytical skills, when we need a mentor, or where we need to dive in deep and learn things about ourselves and who we are and what are our values and what are our needs. I mean, when we choose, I'm working a lot of with relocation and immigration coaching, and I'm also an immigrant myself. I was born in Ukraine. I lived for many, many years in Israel. Then we decided that we want to move, and of course, we wanted to move only legally. So we were checking a few countries and few options, and life took us to West Coast of United States. That we took this opportunity, even we knew a little about this part of United States, but it was our opportunity to get um, into the United States and all the documents and all this logistics. Then we moved when we had an opportunity to decide what do we like, where do we want to live. So we moved to East Coast, and then we adjusted in the East Coast for what state works best for us. And it was a big journey, and we discovered a lot of things about ourselves and about our interaction with society and weather, nature, many, many, many other aspects that play an important role where to live. But what I wanted to say that we need to dive in. We need to understand what our priorities, what we like, what we don't like. It can be self-discovery. It can be work with a decision-making coach. It can be work with therapists. Maybe at some point I will more recommend a coach in this position because it's more like a proactive position of doing things, having a plan, having a schedule. So yeah, and then we are learning our whys. Why do I want it to change? Why do I want to make this decision? Where do I want to go? Where do I don't want to go? And again, as people, we have this tendency to indecision, to be in between. to postpone, to procrastinate. So I can understand many people that can be easily, for example, manipulated by someone who comes and says, "Hey, you do not need to discover things. You do not need to decide now or ever. You can be somewhere in between. You can wait. You don't have to make this decision." Or let's leave it as an open question, and you can come back to this whenever you want. This is very tempting us to go through this indecision, to be in this procrastination, waiting area of decisions when we're not deciding. But if we want to be happy, if we want to be in balance, if we want to see results, if we want to see a reality that we enjoy, we cannot escape the decision making processes in our life, and we need to focus on them. So if we are thinking about something, we need to know our whys. Because even if in general it's not a bad idea, but I don't know why this is important for me, why I'm choosing this over that, the motivation will be pretty low, and the chance that we will achieve the goal is get lower and lower because of this, because we are not motivated. We need to be aware. It's like in at work, when you have a manager that is saying, just like giving you an order, do this, do that, without explaining you why it's important, it will be much harder for you to do. You will feel much more inner resistance. You will be tired. You will have less motivation. But if your manager will come and say, "Hey, we need to reorganize those folders, for example, because we have an audit, or we have an investor that comes and he wants to see that we are very organized." If he will come and he will see it, he will give us more finances. We will be able to do ABCs that we really wanted. We will have more opportunity, more creativity, more growth. So doing the same work, like organizing those folders, will be very different for each one of us. We will be more motivated. We will know why we are doing it. We will see a meaning in our actions. So this is very important. One of the reasons why it's very important uh, to know what are we doing is we need to do things knowing the purpose of those actions, and this huge amount of energy we are wasting to change a career or to move to another place, or to create something. So this is what for we need decision making coaching, or we need to analyze things deeply to know our whys, why to do it, why to change it, why do I want to achieve it, why do I need this change, why do I need this challenge. So we really, really do need this awareness. Another thing with coaching, that even decision making coaching has two parts. One part is really a big part of brainstorming, analyzing, understanding, uh, and finding our way. But another part is that a coach can do things together with you. So you can hire a coach for 2, 3, 5 sessions, figure out things, understand your priorities, understand your whys, understand what will be your gains and your losses, what will be the cost for this positive change you're looking for, because there's always a cost. But in most of cases, it's worth it. But there is also part of doing this step by step, getting there. When you understand where you need to go, you need to get there. So there are also other sort of sessions when to go plan is created, when milestones are created, when coach helps you to be accountable, when coach supports you, when you adjust to the reality together and you brainstorm what will you do, and coach is like going with you. It's a collaborative process of doing things together. And of course, tarot reading is not about that also. So it's very, very different things. But when tarot reading can be helpful is when we have something we cannot analyze, we cannot check, and we have very specific, not broad questions. So when we did our research and we check things and we know our whys, and we have, for example, two, three maximum options, we need to decide between them. This is where having a meditation, a channeling, um, doing a good tarot reading, working with dreams if you know how to do it, hiring a specialist that will add to your puzzle this little spiritual piece to complete it. Even if we live in a world of physical reality, we need this little piece, this sparkle of God, this guidance. Sometimes we really, really need it to think for things to become full and to see things clearly. And when we feel it, that at this situation, I need this spiritual component to my decision making process. I need to talk to tarot reader or channeler, or I need to meditate on it, and I need to connect to my higher self. I need to do some spiritual practices to add me some additional clarity. It's a great idea to do it, but you need to have very specific, smart questions if you want to get some insights that will really add to your puzzle and help you to see things clearly. So I hope in general this was helpful and this was informative, and we can talk about it more. If you're interested, please write me in the comments below. You can ask other questions, or we can continue talking about this topic, which I find very interesting and important. And please let me know. Your feedback means a lot for me. Your likes are supporting my channel, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.